Hey y'all, welcome back to my channel. My name is Abby and today I'm going to give my 100% honest review of the new pin trading app. If you have not heard of the pin trading app at this point, to be honest, I feel like you might be living under a rock a little bit because it is everywhere on social media. You can find them heavily on Instagram and they're all over all of the Facebook groups. People are talking about them. I actually, truthfully, have been able to meet Andy and Emily, who are the founders of Pin Trading App, in person. I met them at Coronado on the night of the pin trading nights event that happened. I did tell them that this is 100% going to be an honest review because I am never going to produce anything for you guys that is not 100% authentically myself on my channel. I have been using this application for, I would say maybe a couple of months now, and there are a lot of things that I really love about the app. And then there are definitely some things as a newer app that I know that they're trying to grow and develop, and today we're going to talk about all of them. So it looks like there is a Dream Pass, which is an annual pass, and that is $39.99, so around $40 annually. Or you can do a monthly pass and it's around $15. You don't have to sign up for the pass right away though. You actually can skip over the signing up, and I do believe it allows you around 10 scans just so that you can get a feel for the app. So if you are going to use this as a trial, I would make sure that you test out a multitude of the features and don't just scan in one of the sets. Try to change it up so that you can really get an overall feel for the app. I think the first thing I want to start with is showing you guys in live time the way that I like to use the app. I am a true user of the app and I find it very beneficial, especially as it relates to my 101 Dalmatians collection. Many of you guys that follow me know that I am trying to go complete on Dalmatians, which means I want to have every single Dalmatian pin ever created that is Disney licensed. And fantasy, I want all the things. But we're focusing on Disney license to start because it's already a feat as it is. I'm not going to name any names of other systems that have already been out there. However, in my experience with other systems, there was a beep. Okay, I think we're okay. In my experience with other databases that I've used before, I have a really hard time finding some of the older pins or harder to find pins. And when I would submit them, they would get declined. And so I was never really able to actually have a good, solid virtual database that wasn't missing some of the pins from my collection. Having a virtual collection that eventually you're gonna be able to share with people for your ISOs and just the pins you already have and your traders and all of that is top notch. It was something that was absolutely needed in the community, and I personally use it all the time and I'm very excited about it. We'll get into a little bit more of that later, but for now, I think that it makes the most sense for you guys to understand how I would use it in live time so that you can see if this would be realistic for you. These are some of my keepers that I brought back from Kraken Dallas last weekend, and I've been saving them in this little bucket. And I'm sorry, if you guys don't have bins full of pins and bags full of pins laying around, are you really a collector? We all do it, okay? I think I've got around 10 pins in here, so we'll just get started. I'll show you guys the pins and then I will screen record me uploading them into the system. The first pin I have is this DSSH Perdita with the umbrella, and I have been DISO for this pin for so long. I am so excited that I was able to add her to my collection. So they do recommend not actually taking a picture on the backer card. Now I can show you guys just to see if we can get away with it. In my experience, sometimes you can get away with it. Other times you can't. If you want to be extra sure, I would just take it off the card. I'm going to leave it on the card just so I can show you guys what would happen if we scanned it on the card. In my experience though, if I don't get a pin within 2 to 3 tries, it's probably just not in the database. And you want to make sure though when you're scanning that your lighting is good, because that will impact the cameras and the system's ability to figure out which pin you actually have. This is what the pin trading app interface looks like. So you'll find a scan button at the bottom. Make sure you're toggled over to identify as well. And when you're ready, you'll click the red button to scan your pin. On this first scan, I didn't find the pin that I was looking for, but I did find this other Perdita one that popped up, and I actually need her. So I'm going to click the red heart and add her to my ISOs. For the second scan, I went ahead and took her off the card back to make sure I got a clear photo, and I still popped up the same pin as last time. I'm scrolling through the similar matches to see if it's in here, and it's not, so I do need to submit her. Once you've gotten to the submission page, you can can click Get Started, and then it's going to take you to the Tell Us About Your Pin page where you can input all of the information that you know about the pin. Compared to other databases I've seen before, the pin trading app database to submit a pin is really easy as it relates to photos. All you need is to submit at least a single clear photo. They do ask that you take a photo of the back as well, and this is just to ensure authenticity. Once you've inputted all the information that you can to the best of your ability, you can then submit your pin. So I've submitted that pin now for review, and in my experience, they normally get uploaded within 24 to 48 hours, which is amazing. I have sent in a message to them and I was asking, hey, like, what happens when we submit it? Like, do you guys give us a notification? And at this time, they can't figure out a way to get the system to push back to you a notification that says, hey, we've approved your submission and it's now uploaded. They are aware that that does not happen, and I do believe it's something that they're working on, but I'm unsure if that's going to be a feature that will be added in the future or not. Although it would be nice for me, it's not make or break because the system is so great otherwise in regards to keeping the collection. And again, the submit the pin feature for me is light years beyond many of the other applications that I've used. And for that reason, this is what I do. I know that Perdita is not in my system, and so I'm actually just gonna put a little sticker. This is my pen, you guys. I know not everyone's gonna agree with putting a sticker. These, in my experience, come off really easy. Now she needs to go up here on my board. I call this my mom and dad board. I guess I'm gonna put her all the way up there. She looks so good, I'm so excited. And I'll zoom in. You guys can see that she has the sticker there. And so now I know that she is not formally uploaded into my pin trading app collections. And so what I'll do is in a couple of days, I'll go back, I'll scan the pin again, and once it's uploaded, then I'll add it to my collection, and then I'll take the sticker off my pin. Now you guys, again, can obviously do whatever you want. If you don't like putting stickers on your pins, you could write it down, whatever works best for you. But this has been the way that I've been able to do it, and it's worked really well for me. The next pin I have is the vinyl record Dalmatian from the Pink a la Mode release that happened in California from those mystery boxes. I was very, very excited to get this one. So let's upload this one into the system and see if it's there. Same as last time, I'm just going to take a picture of the pin. It's going to scan it. And then for this one, it popped right up, which is perfect. I'm going to give them the feedback that this was a correct match. And then I'll click add to collection. I'll select my Dalmatians board, and that is it. That one was super easy. It came right up. And so I can just go ahead and add this one to my lucky board. And I'm sure you guys have other questions about so many of the other features and things that you guys can see when I'm uploading them. I promise we will get to them. I realize I've made an error though. Nothing to do with the app. This is actually a user error. So as you guys can tell, if you have not seen my collection, hold on, I don't want to cue Dizzy. There we go. So I have a lot of Dalmatian pins. I mean, we're talking over 500 easily, and I've gotten through a big chunk of it, but with working full time, doing content, I have 2 young kids. It's gonna take me a while, guys. It's gonna take me a while, y'all, to get everything into the system. I'm trying to upload them in little patches of these areas so that I can keep track of what I've uploaded. I thought at the last event that I had uploaded my lucky section, but I'm realizing now that I did not. And there's actually a pin I'm realizing is a duplicate that I traded for at the event because he's right here. This guy is one that I didn't think I had because I really thought I'd already uploaded all of these. So I think it makes the most sense right now for us to actually go over how to add a pin into your trade book. Let me guys show you the pin, hold on. I really did not think I had this. And this is why before Vegas is next weekend, y'all, I have to try to get all these uploaded. I'm gonna crunch through them because literally having the app is gonna make this not a thing anymore. And although I love them all equally, they do start to look the same after a while. And I like to consider myself someone who has a photogenic memory. So anyways, I digress. If I had actually uploaded this the way I should have into the system, this would not have happened. But let me show you guys how to add a trader. There are actually 2 ways to get a trader pin onto your board. The first one is to scan the pin, select it, click add to collection, and then mark as a trader on the next screen. The other way is if it's in your collection, you'll hold down the pin, click move to, and then select mark as a trader pin, and that will also move it over to your trade boards. So I have about 10 more pins to upload into the system, and just as a test, I'm gonna show you guys how many are actually already in the system versus how many I have to submit. And I would keep in mind that 2 of these are fantasy pins, so we will see if these guys pop up into the system. Unlike other databases, the pin trading app is including fantasy pins into their collections. For me, I actually have a secondary section. So I have a Disney license authentic subsection, which I actually think I'm even gonna further subsection down, but that is a video for another day. And I also have a fantasy section, and these guys will go obviously into the fantasy 101 Dalmatians collection. For reference, here are the 10 pins that I need to add to my collection. So this is where we ended up. Honestly, I'm kind of shocked at some of the ones that did and didn't end up being in the system. So only 2 of them were ones that I had to submit for. This one doesn't surprise me because it's a Disney Store UK. It's a really hard to find set. It's a set of 12. It's an old plastic set. This is authentic, and I have like 4 of the others, so I was excited to get another one. But this one I was kind of surprised because it's a pink a la mode, and it's an open edition, so I just assumed she'd be in there. Shockingly, these 2 that are fantasy pins were actually in the system already, and I kind of cheated, and I was able to get away with uploading them without even taking them off the backer cards. And even this Bradford Exchange one was in there, which I thought was interesting, and a lot of these popped up right away, so I didn't have to even scroll through other options that I thought would be a match. Can we have a moment for how beautiful the scene of this one is? It's Bambi with the butterflies. Anyways, I was not expecting this one to be in there either because the Little Mermaid one wasn't when I had uploaded her originally, but it was in there, which was so exciting. Okay, let me put these guys up on the board and then we'll come back for more stuff about the app. All right, now that all of the pins are up, I think it's time to talk about some of the other features that you can find within the app. You guys can see clearly that I have already been using this app and I have a lot of collections already in there, so it's very easy for me to just take my pins and pop them into my collections. But I want to show you guys how you would create a collection. I do some pin trading for my son. Now, he's only 3. I'm going to use these pins that we got at the event and create his own little board in the app. Now, I'm gonna be honest, I'm kind of expecting these pins to be pretty straightforward to find. In my experience though, most of the pins that you're gonna find in mystery packs or park pins pop up really easily, so this should be easy breezy. To create a new board, you'll scan the pin as you normally do, and then once you've selected the pin, here it did pick Chip. That's fine, it was an easy fix. I just go and select Dale instead. Click Add to Collection, and then once you do that, click the Create New Board. It's going to populate where you can type in whatever name you want for your new collection, and then once you have that, you can just add the pin to that collection, and it's as simple as that. Not related, but something I wanted to show you guys that happened. When I went to go scan Donald, you'll see that it popped up as Lumpy Cupcake. And the reason that it did this was because when you look, when I went to screen record this, you can see that Lumpy Cupcake is right above Donald. So in the image, it picked it up. So I had to actually pull him off, scan it, and then it populated. All right, let's get all of his other pins uploaded into the database. that is how you add a collection. Like I said, it's really straightforward, very easy. On that scan page, you can either add it to a collection, add it to a trader, or create a new board. I uploaded 3 series because I want you guys to see the organization tool that you can find within each of your sub collections within the app. Since we were just in there, let's use Knox's new collection for reference. I'm going to select the collection and then click Sort Filter. Now there's 4 different filters. There's date added, pin name, estimated value, and series. For this one, let's do series, and you can see it populates all of the pins in this collection by the series, which is really cool. A small pain point for me with this feature is that it's not loading subsets for me, so let's click on my pin trading time Paris. Although it says that there are 35 in this series, there are in this series, but there are subsets that happen monthly. And when I click series, it doesn't connect those together. So maybe that's something that they'll fix in the future. I would think this might be an issue with Adorbs collectors as well. We'll just have to see if they update this later down the road. Another feature within the collections that I really like is that you can actually create a favorites category. So if there is a particular board that you are constantly adding pins into, you can see for mine, I have a lot of different collections. And for whatever reason, 101 Dalmatians, I think it just goes in chronological order that you created the boards. It was at the very bottom because it was the first board I created. So I'm going to show you guys how you can pin it to the top. So rather than me having to scroll down every single time I want to add a Dalmatian pin, all you do is hold down the category, click it, and it will have a little pin icon, and you just click pin to the top. It will then favorite that board and it will pin it to the top. So it's very easy for me now when I need to add Dalmatians. As you can see, it's the first category. I just click right on it and submit my pin. The app has recently added a new feature that's really exciting. That is a trade evaluator and also trade values. So the first thing we'll talk about is the values section. The creators are very much aware that there is market manipulation that goes online, and the app does pull from eBay. As we all know, sometimes there's market manipulation on eBay, and sometimes there's also bids, right? And in my experience, I don't necessarily count bids towards true value of a pin. I like to look more at sold listings. So the application actually has it set up where it pulls from sold listings, but the problem is there are fakes out there. So some of these pins that are authentic pin would be a higher value. The other issue, again, in my opinion, are bids. So bids are true sold listings. However, for me personally, I don't really consider bids when I'm looking at true value because it just depends on who sees the bid. Typically, they'll start at $1 or $10, and then it's whoever sees it. It's an auction, right? And then we also need to take into account market manipulation. But in my experience, for some of the more straightforward pins like hidden Mickeys, newer releases, newer park pins, this feature is wonderful. I'm finding with some of the higher value pins, especially like vanities, anything that's been highly faked, those pins, I would double check it. I think it's a great way to just take a quick look at if you think something might be around that price point. However, I would still double check, and they actually make it really easy to do that, and I'm going to show you that now. I selected my Cruella Haunted Mansion crossover pin, and it's estimated around $39.50, which that's about what I traded it at, so that makes sense. Has all the pin details, the fluctuations in pricing over the last months, weeks, and years, and the recent eBay sold listings. I also love that you can click that and it'll take you directly to the eBay current listings. I really like the estimated value feature, and again, the founders are very much aware of some of the issues that could come into play. But with any collectibles, this is going to be an issue, and it's not an app-specific issue. So I'm not dinging them any points for this. I just think it's important to take the estimate as it says. It's an estimate. Make sure that you're clicking those sold listings, look at the active listings, and feel really comfortable before you're pricing your pins. I wouldn't take the app exactly at its value. It's really meant to be a tool to help you get an idea, and of course, scanning it and then being able to quickly click that sold listing will help you save time if you are actually at a trade event and looking at stuff. So I definitely recommend using it for that. For me, I actually found that the trade estimator tool was a little more beneficial for me personally where I'm at with my collections when I went to the Kraken trade event. Now, this may differ between every trader, but they also have a tool that I want to talk about now called the trade evaluator. And honestly, the concept is really, really freaking cool. You're supposed to take 2 pins, so your pin and their pin, and I will show you guys, we'll take an example somewhere here in the room, but you take both pins and you take a picture of each of them, and then the application will actually spit you out if they feel that it's a fair trade or not. Like, the coolest concept ever. Now, in total honesty, for me, I found it a little bit challenging in an event because we're not always trading 1 for 1. I do think that the concept of that feature is really, really cool, and it can be used in certain situations. However, if you're doing like a big bulk trade, it's not going to be really that helpful for that because it's going to be really, really time consuming. But if you're looking to just trade a pin for a pin and you want to get a general idea, again, as long as you're not second guessing, you're checking, like double checking within the other features of the app, like eBay, sold listings, all of that, I think you can get a really good gauge using that feature of if it's going to be a fair trade or not. With that being said, I'm going to do 2 examples. I'm going to grab 2 pins that I think are going to be close in value, and then I'm also going to grab 2 pins that I think are not going to be close in value. Now, realistically, because I want you guys to actually see how this part of the app works, I'm going to pick pins that are a little easier to find or ones that I know currently exist in the database. Obviously, if you go to use this feature, one of the problems that you can run into is if your pin is not uploaded or their pin is not uploaded into the database already, then you obviously can't use the feature because the pin doesn't exist. That will obviously change though as the database grows. These are the 2 that I think are going to be more similar in value, but I could be wrong, you guys. I really have not checked this before, so this is going to be a true example in live time. And then these are 2 that I think are going to be different, but at a trade event, a new trader might not know any better because this is a chaser, I believe. And this one, although it's not a chaser, I believe is going for a lot more than this one. So this would be really, really great for a new trader, but let's see. To use the trade evaluator, just toggle over on the scan feature. Then you'll scan the first pin. I'm going to pick the Hong Kong Disneyland Dalmatian camera, and then the second pin, which is this Powerline Valentine's Day. The app is then going to start identifying your pins, and it's going to populate you a few potential matches. If they're correct, you'll just select them. It'll evaluate the trade, and here, unfortunately, the Hong Kong Disneyland camera didn't populate any data, so it's unable to determine a trade estimator, but we're going to try it with another pin. As I told you guys, this is a 100% honest review. I just pulled a pin I thought would be similar in value, but the app wasn't able to pull any data for this pin either, so I went ahead and just selected a pin that I felt really confident would be in the database. I went ahead and selected one from the same series, so I love this Fozzie Bear pin, and you can see here it says it's not quite an even trade. For good measure, let's do it with the other set of pins, so we'll do the Tweedledees, then we'll do Aurora, and just like I thought, Aurora is higher, but honestly, I'm even shocked. I didn't realize how much she's gone up in value since I last looked at her. I was playing around with the app to figure out what it would consider a fair value trade, so I thought that the Tweedledees and Fozzie Bear would be really similar, and I was right. It did populate that this is a fair value trade. I think it's anything around the $5 mark. Anything over 10, I think it's going to consider over. So as you guys can see, the evaluator can only pick up the values if the database connected to eBay can see if a value even exists out there. So that was the issue that I was running into. I tried to do this with the Clarice Pin Trader Time pin, and I tried to see if it was an even value, and the Clarice pin wasn't even in the database yet, and so it didn't pop up with anything for that pin. But the secondary issue is that if for some reason it's not pulling from eBay, and I know for a fact those pins are in the database, great feature, it's not going to be 100%, and I wouldn't expect it to be 100%. But some of these more straightforward pins, again, like the Mystery Park pins, our Disneyland Ds, most of that stuff the database can very easily pull, and I do feel like most of those values were pretty accurate. Now, obviously, to each their own. I know some people are like, okay, it's within the same set, so I'm fine with it. So if you are a value trader, I do think that this feature on the app is fantastic. Another feature on the app that I didn't mention that I absolutely love is the More From This Series feature. This makes it so easy. So you can see like back here, I have all of these sets. Well, I could easily create a collection. scan one pin, and then from that database, from the more series section, I can actually just go ahead and add in the entire collection. I'm gonna do that really quick, so I'll show you guys that. I needed to upload my Duffy and Friends Natures of Color series anyways, so I started with Duffy Bear. I added him to the collection by creating a new board, and then once I created that board, I went into it, clicked on Duffy again, scrolled down to the bottom, and you'll see the more from this series section. Once you click see more pins, you can scroll through all of the rest of the pins from the series, which I just think this feature is so cool. Now I need to add them because I already have them. So I'm going to click Stella Lou, click add to collection, and then just click the collection that I want. And there you go. You can then very easily just rinse and repeat this. So I'll click Cookie Ann, add to collection, add it to my board. I'll scroll down and then go back to the bottom, and you'll even see in green that it'll show what is in my collection and what is not. So you can tell which ones you've already added so you don't accidentally add one twice. And for me, I like to look at everything once it's uploaded. I love the way that this collection looks. I just love this set so much. You can also toggle over and see a more detailed worded listing of your pins. Some of the complaints I've seen online are that this is only for iPhone users right now, which is true, and you can only use it on one device, but I don't think they're going to change that part. I do know for a fact that they are working behind the scenes to get this to Android users. So if you're an Android user, just hang in there. If you have an iPad, you could use it for now, but you're gonna have to cancel out of that one if you do want to add it to your Android eventually. But that is in the works, so stay tuned. Another piece of feedback that gets talked about a lot is the ability to share your trade boards, your ISOs, and your collections, and just your profile in general. There's no way right now to connect with other users. There is a little bit of that's kind of peeking out, which is called the community stats. And if you look at that section, it will tell you how many people on the app have a pin or trading a pin. It's in their ISOs. And that is the first step of bringing this app to a more community-based structure. It is in the works, and you can actually see that somewhere on the app. I'll try to screenshot it here that it talks about profiles are coming soon. Right now, I think it's just that you type in your name and you can use whatever name, but they are going to start making you create an actual username that is searchable, and you are going very, very soon to be able to send your profile, your ISOs, and your traders to all of your friends and connect. It's just going to really level it up. It's already really great as it is as a foundation, but for me, I have so many people in the community who are like, hey, do you have this Dalmatian pin, who will reach out to me? It'd be really nice to just have a link on my profile. Obviously, anyone can reach out to me at any time asking about my collection, but it offers people an opportunity to look at people's collections and your traders without having to actually be at home. This is gonna be huge for traders and for online trading in general, because how many times have you been caught where maybe you're on your lunch break at work and you're typing to somebody and you're like, hey, I want to trade for this pin, but I'm not home. Let me send you my updated traders. And it takes you, you get home, then you get busy, you have dinner, and then you're going to potentially lose the trade because it just took too long to send photos. And not all of us have time to update our books. I know I sure as well don't. With 2 kids, a full-time job, my books and stuff are always looking a mess. Now, the biggest thing I will preface, and this is not an app issue, but obviously these are photos and anyone could get a stock photo from any website. So you cannot guarantee that someone sending you this 100% has that trader. So please make sure before you do a trade, once this feature comes out, that you guys are double checking, asking for photos, ask for the video front and back of the photo with your name or with their name on it, right? We still need to be really safe. That feature is great, but it's not going to verify that that person actually has that pen in their inventory. It's just going to be what they say they have in their inventory. I have no idea of when that's going to be coming out, but I do have a feeling that it's going to be within the next month or 2. Fingers crossed. I think one more feature that I failed to mention in this, and you guys have you might have seen me earlier, I went back and was like, oh, I want to add this to my ISO, but adding a pin to your ISO. Because there's not a search bar feature, again, something that they're looking to add in the future, the only way that you can add something to your ISO is if you have a picture of it. Now, if you don't have a picture of it in real life, you can just take a picture from the internet. You can take it from eBay or PinPix or wherever, and you can take that image, and there is a spot on the scan a pin section that will allow you to upload a photo. Once it populates, assuming it's in the database, if it's not in the database, add it, and then add it to your ISO. I know, extra steps, but we gotta do what we gotta do right now. Again, new database. or assuming that it pops up, then you can just click add to ISO. Now, the second thing that I want to show you is how you can add to an ISO when you're already adding another pin. Sometimes I will just happen to find something because it's like the little section that has more to this series or pins that are similar. And if you look in that, sometimes I will find a pin that I'm like, what pin is that? And I get really excited. Instead of adding the pin that I have to my collection, I'll actually click that and then click the heart and add it to my ISOs. Then I'll go back and add the pin I was actually looking at. But it's really, I love that little subsection of pins that are similar because it's just another way for us to get an idea of all the pins that are out there. Even though we can't search the app right now, I'm still finding pins that other people have added into the database that are really, really cool. So I actually have a set here that I've been working on, and I'd eventually like to get the whole like box set of it, but right now I only have the one, and I know for a fact I need the other. I think there's like 5 or 6 others, so I'm gonna show you guys that now. All right, well, a little bit of a fail here because Perdita actually isn't in the system yet, so I need to submit her. But I was able to scroll through similar matches and I found a ISO that I needed, which is this Pongo stamp, so I was able to show you guys anyways. So I clicked Pongo, then I clicked the heart, and he goes into my ISOs. And here you can see him in my ISO catalog, and for no particular reason, we'll just scroll casually. But I mean, if you guys see any of these, let me know. That is pretty much everything about the app. I'm sure I may have missed a couple of features. If you guys have questions, you can always reach out to me in the comments or send me a DM. I am happy to answer that. My true honest opinion on this app is that I 100% believe the money and the investment is worth it. I've seen that they've actually gotten some bad reviews because people feel that they're not getting the experience, being only able to have 10 scans, and that the price point is really high. And in my opinion, it's absolutely worth the $40. I mean, $15 a month, you're paying that within 2.5 months. So for me, just spring for the full year. Pins are expensive, so $40 in the grand scheme of the investment, my time, my energy, and all of that, for me, 100% worth it. I use this app daily, or at least, every couple of days in regards to uploading my pins into the database. If I'm doing a trade, I'm looking to see if I have a pin because, again, I'm not always home. I have kids. I'm not able to always just go and look at my walls and figure that out. So for me, this is absolutely an app that I will use constantly. I'll always be updating it. And there are a lot of other apps out there that I do like to use in conjunction with this application. However, this is the app at this time that I use for my main collection, and I keep everything in that virtual database, and I love it. Overall, my opinion is that I think everyone should have this app, and I'm not just saying that. I think the more tools that we can have under our belt, the better off we are at a trade event and as a community as a whole, because knowledge is power, and just being able to have everything. In this day and age, technology is so important, and this is one of the most advanced pin trading apps, absolutely hands down, on the market right now. Do they have room to grow? Absolutely. But don't we all? Don't we all? All they can do is take feedback and grow. It's still a really new app, but I would definitely get in on it now because I only see this app progressing in the future. If you're not sure if you're gonna love it, maybe try it out for a month. So do the 15-month, and if you're loving it, then you can always increase to a year. Obviously, everyone needs to do what is best for them if they wanna do monthly or yearly. That is my review on the new pin trading app. I hope you guys really enjoyed this video and found it helpful. I've actually never done a review on here before, so let me know in the comments what you thought or if you have other questions. Again, my name is Abby. If you guys are new here, thank you for watching. I do lots of pin content. So I do pin events, obviously when we travel to Disney. I'll do other Disney related events, just general life vlogs. Sometimes it gets a little bit chaotic. If you guys want to follow my Instagram and TikTok, I am also on there as well. But this is where you're going to find more long form content. And I appreciate every single one of you for being here. If you guys did like this video, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe over here. And as always, stay pinning, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!